Hello. Hello? Hello? Okay. Um, I'm on lunch break, but I wanted to do a brief stream on the global Sumud Flotilla. I don't really like this motherfucker, and part of what he says in this video kind of summarizes some of why I don't like him. Um, he has a very Western chauvinist type of understanding, in spite of him saying he's against you know imperialism. Is a very white perspective, in spite of him supposedly not being white. I don't know what his background is, but his perspective is very white. It's very and it, it kind of makes sense on what he says in the middle of this fucking video. So we're gonna watch this. He's talking about the global Sumud Flotilla. I clicked on this because I've been following it as a black man. I've been following it because I'm worried about what's going on in Gaza, and I'm interested on this being successful because that's what us black people do who know what oppression looks like.
About the global Sumud Flotilla, which is approaching, I believe it's a couple of days away from Gaza at this point. And in many respects, this is great, and all the people on it are doing something very, very good. I don't know who they all are as individuals. I don't endorse them all as individuals, but for this one thing they're doing, they're doing something good. A lot of the people
I
on this,
thought so too. I don't even like. I mean, I was not like some stand for Greta Thunberg, but I think this is one of the best things she's ever done. So I've been rooting for her on this flotilla.
this flotilla, like Greta Thunberg, are like people who would be like fighting alongside Che Guevara if they were born 60 years ago, and it's a shame they weren't. She's like the one person ever to come out of the mainstream who did something good in a very long time, like didn't turn out to be a dud in a very long time, but that's very sad as well. Who knows what Israel's going to do? Like, this is a lot of fucking boats. This is a lot of boats. It's not just one boat that can
It's
stop
50.
easily. It'll be a serious commitment from them to stop these boats.
Apparently, there's 50 boats from different nations going to try to send aid to to the Gazans, the Palestinians.
From getting to Gaza, and there's a lot of potential for them to end up hurting people, and they might even plan to hurt people. There was some hubbub about like Spain and Italy sending Navy ships to protect the flotilla. I just want to know, I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think
Yeah, that seemed like that was a red herring to try to intercept the ship and take it back. I mean, take the supplies and then supposedly in best case scenario send it back to where it came from. If not arrest, they arrested people last time. Um, held them for a little while. Then they released them after it got media attention. They would have kept them indefinitely if it didn't get media attention, though.
sent by various countries' navies are there to do rescue operations for their citizens if they end up getting their ship sunk or something. That's the most likely reason. They're not going to actually fight Israel. Nor could they if they wanted to. One or two ships aren't going to be able to deal with Israel with fucking aircraft nearby, obviously. So obviously this is a good action.
I heard there was 50 ships. At least they're going to send 50. Maybe, I don't know if they're all together yet.
It's like a legitimate material, like physical.
This is why you also send air support. Like Turkey, they sent some drones. They could send way more than that. There's not. They're merely surveillance drones. But if countries wanted to send some like attack drones, they could. They just don't want to start a world war because that's the rationale. Um, Israel has nukes, and there's the Samson, the word Samson approach. It's called the Samson Project, where if you guys oppose us, oppose our authority and all the evil shit we're doing, we're gonna shoot nukes all over the place, and it's really fucked up. There's plenty of countries who could intercept any fucking missile that Israel would shoot, but it's still, some other people might not, some other nearby countries might not be so lucky. So that's why people refrain from even escalating with Israel, even though Israel is pretty fucking weak. They can't do anything if we didn't supply them and fund them. The U.S. didn't supply and fund them. They wouldn't be able to do anything. They're no threat. They would die within a month at best. The nation.
confrontation to the Israeli blockade on Gaza, the biggest one ever so far. But Israel has reacted violently and repressively to these sorts of actions before, though they haven't been confronted with one anywhere near this large before. Previous flotillas, they outright massacred people. Not like the recent ones, I mean, the recent boats, I mean, rather, like 10, 15 years ago, they just outright massacred people trying to break the blockade on Gaza. So they have the potential to do that, which is worrying, but so these people are obviously very brave to be putting themselves in the line like this. However, in a way, I feel like it is an example of the dire situation that we are all in, that this is people who are willing to put themselves on the line, who are willing to go as far as possible. This is the most that they can see themselves doing now. The furthest that they can see as a realistic strategy nowadays. Like, as I said, someone like Greta Thunberg...
It's not the furthest. You just don't pay attention to the places where, you know, armed resistance is actually happening. A lot of them tend to be brown, and that's probably why he doesn't really acknowledge them very much. He only pays attention to the, you know, white gestures from first world countries.
Who are willing to go as far as possible. This is the most that they
so-called first world
themselves doing now. The furthest that they can see as a realistic strategy nowadays. Like, as I said, someone like Greta Thunberg would have been hijacking planes 40 years ago. Now Greta Thunberg like talks to the media and pleads with them to have hearts and be human beings, and goes on yachts that sail straight into the Israeli Navy over and over again, and then gets deported from Israel. I think it says something about the era that we're in. Also, how technology has developed. Resistance isn't really possible anymore. At least armed resistance feels far less possible than ever before.
He couldn't be more wrong. Armed resistance is impossible. It's not possible. And what the fuck do you think is going on in Africa right now? They're having a revolution right now. Things are improving right now, thanks to armed revolution. They are kicking them bougie, collective Western colonials out of their fucking country and taking over and gaining more autonomy and improving the lives of the people who are, you know, native there. That's what's happening, thanks to armed resistance, not non-violent protests. That bougie fucking mousetrap. That's all that is.
Might be legitimate.
That doesn't fucking work. Especially for black folks. They don't give a fuck about black folks. They don't feel sorry for black folks or brown folks. If you're not white, they're not gonna feel sorry for you. Not in this fucking country. Not in the collective West. That shit don't work for us. They just rewrite history and say that, oh, that's what got us our concessions. No, motherfucker. There was people doing riots. We had people like the Black Panthers who were armed, defending our, you know, people, defending people, fighting back, shooting back. Okay? And so bougie constituents were getting scared and wanting the fighting. They wanted the fighting to end. And that's why we got concessions after the 60s civil rights. And then they've been incrementally trying to unravel them since the fucking late 70s. All the concessions we got, you know, with the civil rights bill, they've been trying to unravel ever since the late fucking 70s. And then Reagan came in and really ramped that shit up. And it's been a continual incremental unraveling ever since that fucking era, ever since Reagan and onward. It's not been improving. And all that's been improving is what? At best, we got some wealthy fucking celebs. But we had them even back in the fucking 60s. The Jackson 5 were already a thing. Like, wealthy black celebrities is not an improvement for the general black or brown populace. It's just a cosmetic representation that doesn't really have any systemic effect. That's it. That you see that on TV and you think it's good for all of us black people, but that's nothing. That doesn't help us. That does not benefit us.
Is it really something that can happen as much anymore with global surveillance technology, communications monitoring, like military equipment in general being like way more precise, way more able to track other people? Like, you know, Israel can kill random Hamas militants in Gaza if they accidentally turn their phone on for half a second with a precision bunker buster bomb.
That's that defeatist bullshit. No, we have older means by which we can communicate that worked in the, you know, the struggled resistances before, you know, the onset of smartphones. right? We didn't have smartphones back during the Bolshevik Revolution or the Civil Rights Movement. All right, we don't need to use those for revolution. And there's also like ghost phones. That's a thing.
When we live in an age like that, the age of like a drone being able to kill you from like 50 kilometers away, based on like intercepting your communications or some shit like that. The
Yeah,
age of
if you're
like
an idiot,
everyone having
we're not idiots though. At Bad Empanada, you are.
like an online digital
You would do
footprint
that. 'Cause
that any of these
you
governments
don't
can look
really do any revolutionary work. You would do that. You're probably a saboteur.
into and try to use it to help find you. We're in this age now where that sort of thing has rendered anything more than like symbolic publicity stunts. I'm not saying this a publicity stunt is bad. I'm not using that in a bad term, but that's what this flotilla thing is. It's like a challenge to Israel, a symbolic challenge to Israel.
Yeah, it's
You let
symbolic. You can certainly say it's probably, it's a symbol if it doesn't succeed. But yeah, it's good. The people are seeing what happens when you try to do it. That and what Israel is doing is evil.
us through, or you
It'll motivate other people to try to do it if they're successful, though. But if Israel tries to pop off, that's really going to make people want to stand against Israel. Probably do something more about that. Send more flotillas that are armed next time.
do something horrible to us that will turn the world even further against you. That is like the ultimatum of the flotilla. And is that good? Yeah, it's better than what anyone else is doing by far, aside from the Yemenis. But it's also a sign of the times. And yeah, that's a good point as well. It's like, it's not just the technology. The technology is a big deal. Like, it limits the spectrum
Well,
of
Yemen is closer to Israel. They're closer to that region. So yeah, they're going to do more.
possible action a lot as well. But there's also the fact that people do have a lot to lose nowadays, a lot more than they did before. Conditions in the first world have gotten a lot better, even of minorities. You know, black people in the US.
No, it hasn't. It has not. It's been they've been unraveling any concessions we've got since the 70s. Okay, it's not been improving. You're watching too much like Hollywood fiction, and that you probably think that's why it's been improving. Like they undid the civil rights, a bunch of civil rights acts. All right, Supreme Court isn't going to defend those anymore. If anyone wants to challenge those, they undid the affirmative action. That's not protected anymore. And that was only to counter the real affirmative action that's not actually up front and talked about, which is, for white supremacists. White supremacist affirmative action is a thing, and that's why affirmative action even happened. And it's still a thing.
US used to have a lot more international solidarity with other groups. Actually, like people look to black people as like
Listen to
national
this
solidarity
bullshit. Listen to this bullshit. Listen to him.
a lot better, even of minorities. You know, black people before.
What?
Conditions in the first world have gotten a lot better, even of minorities.
They've gotten a lot better. No. What first world are we talking about? Where there's very few black folks or minorities? Because not in the collective West, it has not really gotten better. We're constantly at the bottom of um, the poverty tallies, dude. We we're constantly being opposed at every turn whenever we try to like improve our communities. We're being attacked or discredited for anything. You know, they don't even want to celebrate anything good we do, like even if it's for the empire. Like even if we served the fucking military or something. Like we had a war hero, or not a war hero. I mean, he was a military man, and he was helping save people during that 9/11 attack. He's a black man, all right. He saved a bunch of people because that's how us black folks typically are. We have a lot of empathy and sympathy, even for people who have been horrible to us for centuries. We still have that much compassion. So, that was a good thing, and to the point that people decided to, mark that down as a nice act until they decided to make a movie about it, to which they had a white man playing that person. See, because they don't like to even acknowledge us black folks doing good things ever, much less as victims. They don't care about black victims. They don't like so they don't even that doesn't even play in media anymore. You try to show black victims being harmed, nobody cares anymore because that's how much the indoctrination has worked. They go show black victims in Africa. It's just seen as that's just the way things are. It's just no, don't do nothing about it. All right. You see people dying in Darfur, in Sudan, in Somalia, a bunch millions of people being drone striked or slaughtered by fucking UAE stooges, some fucking UAE fronts that the America is funding, or the RFF, the same motherfucker. They're like the UAE stooges that I'm talking about, or you have some motherfuckers like the Boko Haram terrorism going on, which is also funded by the West. That's a CIA front where they just causing a bunch of murder and civil war in these African nations. And that's funded by the West. That's not us black folks doing that or supporting that. That's a front that's the West is doing. They're constantly fighting us. But you go show the victims of that. Nobody over here is going to give a fuck. All right? You're not going to have flotillas for them. All right? The fact that we even care at all about any victims in Gaza should already show you how much, you know, how moral we are. We have the moral authority here, not motherfuckers like you and your pale masters. Shut the fuck up.
Black people in the US used to have a lot more international solidarity with other groups. Actually,
We still do. We still do, motherfucker. You don't talk to black folks. He never talks to any black folks on his show, I noticed. I never seen him talking with any black people on any live stream ever.
like people look to black people as like an inspiration for their own struggles the world over.
Yeah, you should look at Africa right now. Look at what Abraham Traore is doing. Go look at Burkina Faso in the resurgence they're having in liberating Africa. You don't ever talk about that though. I never seen him make one video about Abraham Traore or Burkina Faso. Let me go do a fucking search. He's very white focused though. That's the problem. That's the problem with this motherfucker. Oh, it's a piece. Okay. I'll look at that some other time. But yeah, let's look him up. Bad Empanada. You made anything about Abraham Traore? Neither has Hassan. That's why they're useless content creators. Like this is the best the West has as like Western pundits. I mean, as left wing pundits who are content creators. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You ain't gonna find that fucking greasy motherfucker talking about Abraham Traore ever. Burkina Faso, let's look it up. Nothing. Watch this shit. Fire will cease. This is from 8 months ago. I don't even know what this is about. Nationalism, good, bad. It's not about anything from Abraham Traore or Burkina Faso. There's no title here for it. There's no people pictured from Burkina Faso at all. Look at this. Look at all the people he has in his podcast. None of them are black. I never see him talking to any black folks ever. How is he going to tell us talk about what we think about shit, what we support? Don't say a goddamn word about what we support. You don't talk to us. You don't focus on anything going on in black nations. Oh, you focus on that Nazi motherfucker, this fucking puppet, this mockingbird puppet who worships Nazis. That's some Western stooge, dude. That has nothing to do with the black community as a whole. That's all you talk about. He doesn't talk to those black folks. He talks about celebrities and white centric gestures. That's it. Useless piece of shit.
US. Now, paradoxically, as black people in the US have won more rights, better material conditions for
No, we
themselves.
haven't. What better material conditions? Our infrastructures have been dilapidating since the fucking 70s. And you go look at my neighborhood I grew up in St. Louis and tell me, oh yeah, improved conditions or in that fucking neighborhood. That place looks like a bomb hit it. I showed people pictures of where I used to fucking live in St. Louis. They thought a fucking nuke went off there. What the fuck are you talking about, improved conditions? Go tell the people in Flint, Michigan that. Go tell the people in Mississippi that. You stupid fucking pale. This guy, he identifies with whiteness. This is his problem. He is white. I don't want to hear him say anything different.
They are less incentivized
He's a
to be a
stupid.
support.
Look how he's talking down on us with a fucking Nazi resurgence going on in this fucking country. He wants to talk down on black folks. We got some people got lynched because of the Charlie Kirk thing. Those black folks didn't even have shit to do with Charlie Kirk's murder. They decided to go after us anyway. They attacking historically black colleges anyway. This stupid fuck. He don't focus on that. He never made a video about any of that.
And take as much action for other groups.
He don't pay attention to Christian Smalls. He was also on the flotilla. He's a black person. He's a black activist. He's the guy who, like, the first one to open up a fucking union for Amazon. You don't talk about that.
Feel as much solidarity with them and see as much linkages with their struggles.
It was fucking South Africa who wanted to go to UN and point out that what's going on in Gaza was a genocide. It was them. They were like the main ones doing that. So what the fuck are you talking about? There's been people from Somalia trying to help people in Gaza, try to get them supplies. You know what they get flagged as? They get flagged as fucking pirates. Okay? No fanfare for them. They get shot at. Nobody reports on it.
Used to. So this is not just like a white person thing. It affects everyone. It's linked to their material conditions.
No, it's a white person thing for you because you only acknowledging the white people who are doing this flotilla. All right, if you want a black-led flotilla, that's going to be flagged as like a pirate ship. There are black guests on the flotilla, but you know, Christian Small is not the figurehead or the mascot of the fucking flotilla. You only see Greta Thunberg, so you think it's only just the white people who are going to be, you know, ones who are that compassionate to save the Palestinians. Meanwhile, you're ignoring the decades of support that these white nations have, you know, dedicated to Israel in their fucking genocide over there. They've been doing Nakbas in fucking Palestine since the fucking 40s. We don't want to dote on that, though. We're going to shame the black people for not protesting enough. What the fuck are you talking about? We don't have monopoly of the media, you dumb fuck. What the fuck are you talking about? They don't focus on us because we don't fucking dominate the media. We don't own the media apparatus.
People have way more stuff to risk now, even if there are still poor people in the first world, you know.
They're still genociding our people in Africa right the fuck now. You don't focus on that. We are concerned with people in Gaza, just as we're concerned with our own people in Africa. We can see the parity. We were the ones who were noticing that shit well before people like you. They were going after us as terrorists. They were calling black folks Muslim terrorists for decades after 9/11. They don't trust us.
I mean, people have way more stuff to lose now than they used to. And it's a lot easier for them to lose it, given everything they just said about like the surveillance and the communications intercepting and stuff like that. On one hand, obviously everyone involved in this flotilla, regardless of their positions and other things, is doing an incredibly good and brave thing, but I am very sad.
And the only reason fucking Greta can do it is because she's also rich. All right, she has the privilege to be able to do that because she's already well off. She doesn't have to work. She's more privileged than a lot of white people are, a lot of average white people. So she can do that. She's been a celebrity for a few years. All right, she can be the figurehead of a flotilla. not some average black person who's not really economically, solvent. We kind of struggling out here. Most black people are not well off.
So
And if we're the fucking mascot of a flotilla, it's not even getting any validity in the media. It's gonna be fired out. I mean, fired at, no questions asked.
that I feel like this is an indication of how difficult it is these days to fight against injustice and imperialism on the international stage. Unless you're like a state actor like Yemen, you can really not do anything remotely approximate to what used to be possible. We all learn and like appreciate the era of like the Algerians kicking out the French, the Vietnamese kicking out the Americans, the Irish.
They're doing that in West Africa right now. It's not just Algeria. That you talking about the old shit that happened in Algeria? No, that's going on today. The French are being kicked out right now by people like Ibrahim Traore, and they're also fighting Israel over there. You don't fucking know that. There's some Israeli fucking stooges and people from Ukraine who are like Nazis also fucking around in Africa on the with the behest of American authority and Mossad authority. We're fighting them in our own fucking country. What the fuck are you talking about?
At least getting the Brits to a stalemate with a guerrilla group. But the question is such a thing as possible anymore? I mean, obviously, the US lost in Iraq, the US lost in Afghanistan, but I'm not referring to like outright invasions like that, right? I'm referring to stuff like insurgencies, like what the Palestinians.
Yeah, like what they've been doing in Africa for decades, which Africa is still dealing with and finally solving. Thanks to armed resistance, not no non-violent resistance.
In Palestine have to do. Is there any real potential for success of that sort of thing anymore? Because I don't think there is.
Okay, shut up. He's useless. He's fucking useless. Very fucking useless. Shut up. He's completely ignoring everything going on in Africa right now. This counters what the fuck he's saying here. Counters everything. He's lost and like he's stuck in 30 years ago in the past. Like, nah, dude. That's going on today. That's happening today, and you're ignoring it because the black people are doing it. And you don't want to recognize any black success apparently on the revolutionary front in the modern day. Because he's a white supremacist. I think he's literally a white supremacist. That's probably why he originally liked living in Argentina. That place is lousy with fucking Nazis and people who also suck Israel's dick. They suck Netanyahu's dick. They were cheering on. I mean, the leader, what's his name? So that motherfucker uh, with the weird hair. He has weird hair just like Trump. They're buddies now because that might be a haven for like refugee Israelis if they actually do get ousted. Right? If their empire falls, that's going to be their next territory, Argentina, just like the Nazis, because they are Nazis. But yeah, he lived there. He lived among the Nazi rule, the right-wing fascist rule, the anarcho-capo rule. And I wonder, why the fuck did you even live there in the first place? That's not where he lived all his life. He moved there. Why did you move there, Abad Empanada? Is it because you're a Nazi? You're a white supremacist? Is that really why? And you're not like a real one? Not like a real leftist? You actually support the fascist? The white supremacists? Anyway, yeah, I think a lot of these content creators are like counter-revolutionaries. He's like a trot, practically. Going by his behavior. And so Hassan seems the same way. I don't trust any of these motherfuckers. Like the West doesn't have real ones. It doesn't have real leftist pundits. It has Trojans like this. So fuck this guy. I'm not really watching his shit anymore. He's ignorant, too white focused and biased apparently. Anyway, I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna go back to work. Have a good day. I'll probably stream when I get home. Take care.